It's an email breakdown.
Email's not dead.
Hey everyone, hello friends. It's me, Nudge, Marketing Alchemist. How are you doing? It's another episode of Email Breakdown, and if you're new, this is exactly what it sounds like on the tin. It's where I break down emails. It's not rocket science. I'm here with my friend Hillel. He's a returning guest. Just think of him as kind of like the cousins on sitcoms, but he's not here to cause trouble. He's here to spread joy. Hi, Hillel.
Hey guys, so good to be here.
All right, so for people who are brand new, Hillel, could you just give a little quick recap of who you are and what you do?
Sure, so I'm Hillel Berg. I'm the host of the Inboxing podcast, which you could check out, but I'm also the owner of Hillel Berg Email Marketing, which is an email marketing agency, primarily for e-commerce, where we help brands make a lot more money with email marketing. Email marketing, we just love email. We do a lot of email, and that's pretty much email all day long here.
That's what we love to hear. We love to hear about making money with email. That's what it's all about. So we've got a themed episode today. I've called this episode Hungry Emails with Hillel. I hope you appreciate the alliteration because it's all about food. So I've curated 3 different emails. Hillel hasn't seen them yet. And what we're going to do is we're going to just basically comment on them and just probably give a little bit more insight into what it is about these emails that work or maybe what could be done better. All of that great stuff. So, Hillel, are you ready to jump in with me?
I'm jumping to go. Let's do this.
Yeah, ready to go, champing at the bit. First things first. Usually, I source emails from like different places, whether it's from my own inbox, whether it's really good emails. Today, we're sourcing emails from milled.com. It's a really good resource if you want to get like the most up to date emails from particular brands. Not all brands are going to be on there, but generally speaking, most of the major ones are on there. This is an FYI. So we've got Surreal, which is like I feel like the brand darling at the moment. I geek out every time I see their emails. Hillel, have you seen Surreal before? What are your feelings about them?
There's a guy named Harper. He does MailChimp stuff, and he told me about Surreal. And I always ask what brands do you follow, or whatever. He told me about Surreal, and and I've loved it since. I sometimes copy what they do because they do a great job.
With good reason. There's so many great things happening here. As always, what I like to do, I like to zoom out, take a look at the email, just an info. There's a wonderful flow going on here. You've got like this really, the design geek in me is fully geeking out. The colors are great. I think their thing is very much like the experience of kids cereals, but for adults is like more grown up. I think their brand is very, very clear. So this was one of their most recent ones, Snap, Crackle, and Posh. So I thought this was an interesting email because it's promoting their partnership with another brand. I think any sort of partnership marketing is really interesting because there's so many things to think about, like having a good balance between both of your brands, making sure that it's not kind of like lopsided, like there's a sort of equity there. Hello, like any first impressions from this email?
It's awesome. My first impression, Snap, Crackle, and Posh is obviously related to Snack, Crackle, Pop from Kellogg's.
So good. So
yeah,
good.
they do a lot of that kind of thing, like branding, borrowing from brands in a very careful way. Even like the little splash on the bowl. I'm pretty sure that comes from Krispies, what's it called, Rice Krispies. Yeah. So, and then their text is like, just makes you scratch your head. Like, what the hell are they talking about?
Yeah, it's definitely the intrigue is there, right?
100%. It like draws you in. It's like, what the hell are they selling me?
What are we talking about?
Right. It's like cereal, but then it's scrambled caviar, lobster, yogurt. What?
What the heck? Yeah, I love when copy is as much of a star as the design is, and that's very much the case here. So drawing you in with that element of like, I get that, Snap, Crackle, and Posh. Ooh, interesting. And then scrambled caviar, lobster flavored yogurt, red carpet on toast. Ugh. The thing about that kind of copy as well. Like you get this sort of like sympathetic feeling of like, I don't know, your brain does this thing where it makes you imagine what that might taste like. So it's pretty visceral, at least for me anyway. So it draws you in. And also the thing that I always harp on about, like I'm kind of like a broken record, but these wonderful design elements that draws you downwards. So pointing you downwards, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's awesome. Also, I like the curtain, like in the background. Like
Yes,
they create this
yes,
like
yeah.
stage effect.
Yeah,
Yeah, like that
exactly.
is awesome.
It's incredible. And it's really nice and simple up top as well. There's nothing cluttering up top, right? I think in our last episode we talked about too much clutter, maybe like an unnecessary menu or something. There's none of that in this. It's just product and copy.
Right. I think they also might have like blurred where the text is. Like it looks like they
Yeah,
did.
yeah, just to
Cause
make it
like
more prominent, right?
yeah, so like it's not like breaking the text up, like
Mm-hmm.
or like up it sorry, suddenly like a dark spot, like behind the letter
Mm-hmm.
or a bright spot where it makes it hard to read. Like
Yes.
yeah, just make it more uniform
Yeah,
behind the
really
text.
conscious choices here for sure. And then it goes down into our interest has been peaked. And you're still reeling from like the feeling of like red carpet on toes. What is happening here? At our new cereal though, that's a different story. We've teamed up with Candy Kittens, which is the other brand that they've teamed up with to make the world's fanciest cereal. Not only does it taste just like the wild strawberry sweets, but it's 900 times tastier than red carpet and with a lot more protein. Okay, interesting stuff. I kind of love this idea of like just a bowl of cereal, like just a lovely big image. Any thoughts on this section?
Yeah, well, like you were saying before, like I love. It's basically like more than one email at a time.
Mm-hmm.
It's like three emails in one. The way they break it up, like this is one email, like one screen.
Mm.
Like this could be an email. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's flowed from above, which then makes me want to go back. Can you go back?
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
like, as I'm just trying to follow like the storyline here. Like
Mm-hmm.
Snap, Crackle, Posh, right? Skyline, they all taste pretty grim. But our new cereal is delicious. Got it. Okay. Like all
Yeah.
these gross things are very adult, but gross.
Yeah, it's like that juxtaposition again is like kind of like a smart thing to have an interesting introduction to copy or your storytelling. Yeah, especially when it's very visual. It's talking to your senses in such a in such a clear way. But yeah, this you're absolutely right. This could totally have just been one email, but I think it wouldn't have been
Right.
as
No, it's a good point. You're
interesting.
saying also like, scramble, like all these, very visual, right? You
Mm-hmm.
read scrambled caviar, lobster flavored yogurt, like you could almost see it in your
Yeah,
head.
immediately my senses are overloaded. And then
Are
you soothe.
tripping.
Nice bowl of cereal. So be the first to get your paws on it, of course, because we're talking about this partnership with Candy Kittens.
Is
Shop
Candy
now.
Kittens big? I mean, I don't know. I've never heard of Candy Kittens before.
Yeah, so
Just now.
they're a sweets company. They do these like fancy little gummies, and they're available in supermarkets here in the UK. So definitely a recognizable brand. Where Surreal isn't available, at least not in my local supermarkets, but maybe my local supermarkets aren't that fancy.
Ah, okay. It might be
Yeah.
more, less, more. What do they call it? Like D2C. Like yeah,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
without being in
Yeah.
retail. Is
Yeah.
it like
Actually, we
is
can
there an
talk
adult
about that as
side to
well.
the candy? Like, is it like adult candy or is it just like candy?
It's like
Like,
yeah, it's like I think the branding is so that it's still playful, but it's still like a little bit more grown up than like other candies. The candy comes in these like nice little small packages, which I'm sure I'll show in the editing. But yeah, I think there's definitely a nice brand kind of alignment between these two brands. So it makes perfect sense to me.
all right, cool. Yeah, it's also
Yeah.
yeah, it's cute that they used pause.
Exactly. And it should. And I love these little touches of like kind of making it asymmetrical by throwing in these little design elements of actually having the candy and making it look like it's sort of falling into the bowl as well. That's a really
Right.
good
But does
tip
it
to.
actually come in the bowl? Like, is it? It's not like mixed with that candy, is it? Or
No. I think it's just like, just to kind of direct your eye in that sort of zigzag way to be like,
uh huh.
cereal. Yeah.
Right. It's not like,
uh,
chunks of candy in your
oh my
cereal.
god, I can't even imagine like what's like crunchy and then like gummy like
And
sound.
chewy.
Yeah. We're all about like the sympathetic taste today. Um, and another interesting thing is obviously if I go back as well, there's like multiple opportunities to
CTAs. I
create.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and every level, like I said, like how
Mm-hmm.
they break it up almost into three different emails. Like on
Yeah.
every email, there's a CTA on the bottom, but also in a design element which draws your eye below the CTA, like to
A
keep going.
100%. 100%. Exactly. And also, like, I'm thinking on mobile, you're probably only seeing one of those sections at a time because the copy and the image is so big. So clearly they're designing mobile first, which is very smart. So on this section, we've got mix and match, which is choose for 6 of your favorite flavors with a build a box option. Now featuring a new candy kitten cereal. So upsell. And I love this image of like it's such a smart way of showing that they offer different cereals. Um,
Also, it's great, and
mm-hmm,
yeah, just I mean, it's this whole email is sort of like a home run, which is why we love
um,
them.
mm-hmm.
And
That's
also
why
their
we
whole
love
idea of
them.
like a build a box option, like
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, like a great way to market yourself, not just sell like a box of cereal, but like say, oh, you want some of that, some of that, some of that, some of that. Like
Mm-hmm.
it makes so much sense. Like we
Exactly.
mix. I assume in other households also, but we always mix cereals. Like
Yeah, I like, and it kind of brings to mind like those mini cereals that used to come in like a pack of like 6 or 8. Like I used to love having them when I was little. So I think it's that idea of like yeah, mixing and matching. Also, the other interesting thing to note about Surreal is again like at least where I am, they're not available in retail as in they're not available at the supermarket, and so to kind of go out of your way to order cereal online, which is by no means a necessity, right? You kind of have to like the brand has to be so strong, and the benefits of these cereals have to be really strong in the mind of your consumers, where they're like, I am going to make the effort to buy cereal online. What do you think about that?
it's a great point. Like
Yeah.
it's a really excellent point. I like it's such
Mm-hmm.
a hard thing. Like
Mm-hmm.
everyone's buying cereal forever in their
Yeah.
local, whatever
It's
chains you're
easy.
in.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Like
Yeah.
so they really needed to do something to make themselves really attention grabbing.
Yeah, completely.
And they
Uh,
and they do that. Like that's the whole strategy. Like they know they have a really hard. They're trying to do something really really difficult. Get
they've
people to order
nailed it.
cereal online, right? And not a
Yeah,
brand they know.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And it's
So
like, I think they've done a really smart thing of really putting themselves apart, not just in the benefit of the cereal, like of being a healthy cereal, because if I remember, some of their marketing talks about how unhealthy the cereals that you can get at the supermarket are because of high sugar content or whatever. But it's also they've set themselves apart in terms of their entire brand experience, so their copy, their design. And so I think this is such a great way to have fans like us who are geeking out about their emails, but it's a lifestyle choice, that kind of thing when you choose Surreal.
yeah, there's another point. Like just because we're looking at the footer now, but I love the
Mm-hmm.
little the 2 week snooze.
Oh yes, yes, love that. Use our emails for two
Yeah.
weeks. So for people who are maybe a little newer to email, so one of the ways that you can encourage, maybe like this is sort of like a list hygiene thing, is to also to make sure that you're not shedding people, but giving people the option to snooze emails instead of unsubscribing completely is a great way to make sure that you're still maintaining your list without annoying anyone. So yeah, that's a great touch. The other thing I love about this footer is how simple it is. Oh, it's so nice and clean. With a company that has such a strong point of view as well, I think it is really good to have your tagline that best encapsulates what you're all about, which here is a really healthy cereal.
Right. I also love that, from a design perspective, like you were saying, like I'm often nervous of making the footer too big.
Mm-hmm.
But and like it's one column, like the entire
Yeah.
email I think is one column, right? There's
Yeah.
never
Oh,
are two.
yes. There's no color. Yeah.
Yeah. So everything will line up gorgeously on mobile,
Mm-hmm.
and it's
Mm-hmm.
still gorgeous. Like
Yeah.
they didn't hold them back in any way. by
Mm-hmm.
making it one column all the way through.
No, no,
And
not at all. Not at
yeah,
all.
and like yeah, they're just comfortable. Yeah, the colors, like really, like everything about them is great,
Like you
and also
say,
made a
it's a
lot of
human.
sense, right? To partner like with what are they called, the kittens?
Candy kittens. Yeah.
Candy kittens, yes.
Yeah.
The partner like if that's the flavor of the new cereal,
Mm-hmm.
and so that people that know candy kittens like candy kittens, like it's a great segue because now it's not a brand you don't know or a flavor you don't know. It's something you know already,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
I've certainly tasted
And
candy kittens. So if so, I've never had Surreal. So this is a really funny thing, right? Like I'm a big fan of Surreal, the brand. I've never had any of this cereal, but I can kind of imagine in my mind, like, oh, what would that taste like? You know, I might pique my curiosity, being like, oh yeah, okay, I think I can kind of imagine. And yeah, so it's really smart as partnerships go as well. So yes, great things all around. For me, I can imagine an email like this being done really easily in a drag and drop builder. There's nothing too complicated about an email like this. So yeah, I think if with some planning and like great design, anybody can create an email like this, which is the other great thing about this email.
right, for sure. I mean, did a
Mm-hmm.
yeah, great choice. This has been a really fun email,
Yeah.
and
Uh,
yeah, like oh, we
awesome.
don't have this like huge drop off now. We look at the next one.
Oh no, no, no. So okay. All right. Well, no, nothing terrible. And this is a brand which I'm sure you'll recognize. Um so
McDonald's.
so we went for breakfast and now we're going into lunch. I thought, yeah, a brand as recognizable as McDonald's, I'm always really interested to see what they're doing because obviously they've got a budget behind them. They're global, so I fly back to Singapore once in a while, and I notice like it's different. Like so there's different nuances as well. So it's always really interesting to look at big brands and what they're doing. So in this case, we've got a promotion. Um, the challenge of making your promotions easy to understand and yet compelling enough for people to want to convert, right? Like that, I feel like that's kind of always the struggle. So we've got obviously a McDonald's UK one here. Sorry, so we're on this side of the pond. So we've got spend £15 and then get £5 off. Um, so any thoughts? Any first impressions of this kind of like top bit here?
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I like the little stripe on top.
Mm-hmm.
Like we saw that last time also with Casper, like having, and
Yeah.
I started doing that actually with some of my brands.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a great strategy and just little clip. But what's interesting to me is that they put a not subscribe right on top, like which makes me wonder if
Yes.
they like struggling with deliverability, if they get a lot of bad email addresses, or like people marking them spam. So like that's not mainstream at all to put down unsubscribe right at the top of your email. But
Yeah.
yeah, I guess they're trying to protect on that. Um, so and it seems like a really good deal. I mean, they're making it really clear, right? Spend 15, get $5 off, £5 off. That's solid.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So there's a couple of things around timeliness here. So this email I believe was sent out ahead of the big match. I believe England versus Spain. Not that I'm a big sports person, but women's football. And so like everybody was watching it. And so it makes sense that as a fast food kind of like takeaway place, you want to have like these really great deals because people are going to be gathered together, they're going to be watching the game, they don't really want to cook. So have a good deal and just get right in there. So really good on timeliness. So as you can see here as well, the perfect match is a delicious McDonald's while you watch the big game. So yeah, so I imagine there must have been a little bit of planning on their part because obviously everybody knows when big events like that is coming up. And you can see the subject title here even as well. Get £5 off for the final of football and a little medal, a little trophy there. One thing, yes, so I clocked the fact that it had click to unsubscribe right up top as well. So like in your experience, like when have you done that or when would you recommend people do that?
I've done that when I was consulting with like an affiliate marketing kind of shady
Ah,
client.
okay, interesting. Yeah. So like they had
Yeah,
poor delivery.
exactly.
Yeah.
We're having anyone who's just like struggling with deliverability, I would say like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so yeah, if these people haven't gotten emails from you, or like if you're emailing like an old list that you haven't been in touch with,
Yeah.
yeah, I put the unsubscribe right on top. I mean, I think a lot of
Mm.
people don't know unsubscribes are actually great.
Yes. Yeah.
They're a million times better than spam, and people are very quick to hit spam. And if you make unsubscribe a lot closer, then there's a good chance that they'll do that, and that's a much better option for you. So
Mm-hmm.
emails will hit the inbox. So I assume that's what's happening with McDonald's, that they have had issues with spam. So I assume that's what they're doing there.
Yeah,
I've
definitely. I mean, in my experience from being on the B2B side, where we had a lot of like maybe old contacts, or what happens a lot is people move on from their workplaces and you don't necessarily know that, right? So, yeah, I think little things like this, list hygiene, things like this are really important to make sure that you don't have a load of contacts just floating around in your CRMs. It's the last thing you want. A lot of ESPs charge more the more contacts you have as well. So it's better for both you and the subscriber for sure.
Right, that's a great point. I'm surprised that, just a little bit that they didn't put like a soccer ball. They put it in the subject line, but like that actual image doesn't have like a soccer ball in the background.
This okay, so this is what I was like confused about, because it's like surely there must be like I would have expected at least some imagery around like football. This kind of seems like they have stock imagery lying around of food, and they're like, oh, okay, the match is coming up. Let's throw something together.
Let's throw some
If
confetti on it.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, exactly. Like you could change this out for like, oh, have you got a any sort of like holiday coming up? Chuck that in there. Like this email would work exactly the same. So I'm a little surprised by that. And actually, even the fact that this is like a cutout image against like a white background as well makes me think this is like their stock imagery they have lying around for like any kind of occasion. I wouldn't be surprised if this image popped up somewhere else as well.
Right. Like
Yeah.
I feel like it's a little bit lazy.
Mm.
Like, right? Like they
Yes.
could have
Yeah.
done like, so I mean, it's like their Super Bowl email and there's
Mm.
nothing about Super Bowl or football or right. Also somebody who's opening this email like wants, like they're excited about the game. Like they want to see you just, it's just
Yeah.
disappointing, right? Like you
Yeah.
just want to order for the game, like make it clear, like yay, order
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. Exactly. And like not there's like not even a picture of like people gathered around together enjoying like the thing, like even none of that. But anyway, we'll take a look. So yeah.
Yeah, there's also
So
another point is just that there's no CTA in that first screen. Like,
no, there isn't. So yeah, that's so yeah. Looking at this on mobile, that's going to take up a lot of the real estate, and it is a shame that there isn't at least something that says like
order
get it
now.
now.
Right, I
Yeah,
expect
order
that in that
now.
image, like, because it's such a long image. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, 100%. It should definitely
Definitely.
have a clickable element, and that's obvious.
So this is like a nightmare for anyone who's written a copy for like promotions, but just looking at this, like there's so many asterisks, there's so many like special characters. Like I'm just looking at it, I'm like, oh man, what a nightmare. But you do have to be so specific, I guess, when you're like at
Oh,
Casa
and
McDonald's.
then the bigger the company, the more legal. The bigger
Yeah,
the
it's
legal
like more
department.
legalese. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. But I'm like looking at it, I'm like, oh my gosh, this looks like
I
one of
got,
my
working. I worked for the Altria,
mhm,
company. I worked in Altria.
mhm.
Yeah, one of the biggest. We had a lot of asterisks and learn how to line them up with the subs and everything. Yeah,
Uh,
like
yeah, having
those
to double
hacks.
check the
Thank
terms
God
and
I don't do
conditions
that
at the
ever
bottom.
again. To make it.
Yeah.
I used to know all the old codes by heart.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I know. Well, so like it's so of course obviously it has to be done, but just look at that, I'm like, ooh, so much. Enjoy it on our app. So they're directing people to the app to order, check make delivery availability in your area. Okay, and then let's go down, and it's randomness. McDonald's breakfast tomorrow before 11 a.m. Monday to Friday. You can also enjoy a single McMuffin. So there's like another promo, and then there's another call out to the McCrispy, your favorite chicken remix. It's deluxe, it's
R-
delicious, and it's here. And then it goes back
right.
to how to claim today's offer. So for me, I think it's just complete randomness that we have like these two things here. But what do you think? Is there something strategic there, or do you think we could have done without?
No, I think it's very disjointed. I think they're
Yeah.
trying. If you scroll up, it looks like the Egg McMuffin, if that's what that is.
Uh huh. Yeah. A single
Right?
McMuffin. Yeah.
Single right. So you see like the like sticks up above the white line, like
Yes.
just barely. Like that's supposed to sort of like it's so the opposite of like what we of the gorgeous design we saw with Surreal.
Yeah.
Like that
Yeah.
Surreal like was very uniform, but
Yeah.
very like yeah, like that it guided you through it,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, like here
There's
it's
a clear
like it
story
looks
being
like
told. Yeah.
yeah. There was
Yeah.
one story going through. It was a thread that like led the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And like here, it's like, oh, let's like they're watching the game. Oh, throw in the egg McMuffin. Like,
Yeah. And also, quick, get a McCrispy in there, quick.
what else
Just
are we
chuck it
touching
in
right
there.
now?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's a shame because it's confusing when you have like how to claim today's offer. Really, I think if your offer is like has a lot of like terms and conditions, you want to make sure that this element, or at least what I would have done is have this element right below here, so there's no doubt as to how to claim the offer. And if you really needed to put these elements in, I'll put it
Wait,
after.
is it? One second, I'm just trying to understand.
No worries.
What is how to claim today's offer? Is talking about the thing on the top.
Yes. Yes.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that should be right below,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right
Yeah,
below
right
where
below
the
that, and
promotion
then
is. Yeah.
right, and then like also going on at McDonald's, maybe like a little headline that like
Mhm.
separates like okay, that's the end of email one. By the way, we have great breakfast deals and this
Yeah.
new chicken sandwich that's amazing. So
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like if you're still hungry, we've got a McMuffin. And also, wouldn't you believe we've also got a McCrispy. But I think, less is more. I think this section doesn't necessarily need to be here. It's unnecessary work as well. And that's the thing. I'm a lazy marketer. Why add extra work? Why add extra QA? Don't have the sections in.
right,
Um
and you have even
but
more of those legalese. I mean,
oh,
just
for
look at
sure.
all the legalese.
Yeah,
Like, you have like
yeah.
that little cross, you have
Oh my god.
asterisk, double asterisk, little cross, double little cross,
Yeah,
and then
with
there's
a
like a
little
little
like
mountain
delta
or
sign.
something.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
exactly.
So there's so much here. I think in this case, okay, so
Yeah,
obviously
it's
like
interesting. Why not? It goes on that. You have the double delta. What do you call it?
yeah, yeah,
Why
yeah, the
not
double delta.
enjoy
Yeah,
today's
exactly.
offer with the McCrispy Deluxe? Okay, so they're trying to
Okay.
tie it together. They're trying to say you can take advantage of that $20 offer with the McCrispy.
Like you can stack it. Yeah, it's confusing all around. I think paradox of choice. We I think we talked about this last time as well. But the more choices you start flinging at people, the more they're like it's too much effort. I think I'm just gonna have whatever's in the fridge.
Right.
Yeah.
No, but
um.
there is a point. There is a point I'm trying to make is that like
Like,
their offer isn't for a specific like deal. It's a
mm,
dollar amount or it's a pound amount.
mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh
So
yeah, that's true.
that's why they're throwing all this stuff at you because they're like, oh, while you're there, get a McCrispy or get
Yeah.
an egg McMuffin and make you breakfast.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Have McDonald's for all three meals. So yeah, I think I can completely imagine in the case of like the team making this, it feels like it was made in a rush to anticipate the match. But I think a little bit of storytelling would have gone a long way. Or at least editing, right? Just taking stuff out.
right.
Or maybe what
Or
they could
just
have done instead.
brainstorming how to do this the best way.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, exactly. Or maybe even like a grid of like, their best, like, stuck for ideas. Here's start with these, and it's just like their best selling stuff, like a lovely photo grid. Well, like, what do you think? What
right.
would you have done in this situation?
Oh, I mean, look, the deal is right? It's basically save 5 when you spend 15.
Mm-hmm.
Side, maybe you could put together a bunch of $15 orders.
Exactly,
Like
exactly. Yeah, take the thinking out. Be like, oh yes, that
right,
15 pound meal
exactly.
looks great. Yeah, yeah.
Boom.
Boom. Um, yeah, and I'm sure they have the data on like what are like the most common combinations of meals that people are most likely to order. So you can use that data,
Right.
curate some like different combinations, and you're most likely going to hit something that people would be like, oh, easy,
Yeah,
yeah,
they're
absolutely
using
gonna
the
get that.
data. They do that a lot. Actually,
Mm-hmm.
McDonald's actually bought. There was an Israeli company called
Mm-hmm.
Dynamic. I forget the hell the name was, but
Mm-hmm.
but they all they did was like segmentation, like automated segmentation,
Mm.
and like they helped McDonald's like boost, like change the menu based on like temperature,
Oh,
like
interesting. Yeah.
dynamically, like right if it's
Yeah.
over 80 degrees, like offer iced coffee, like things like that, and that
Makes
like
sense.
made them like $1 billion, so they bought the company. So-
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it makes perfect sense. And so, like, you think a company like McDonald's, hey, like, is this dynamic? If it isn't, why not? So,
right.
yeah, so many questions, but I
It
think
makes me
we could have
cry when
been
I
good.
think about like how much money they spent to the ad agency that put this together.
Yeah. Oh, so yeah, completely different from like the scrappy contender we saw with Surreal. This is what a big company is doing, and it's not always the most interesting. So yeah, quite the contrast. So we finished lunch. Now we're headed into maybe what we might have for dinner. Thank you for staying with me for all three meals today, Hillel.
I think after this, we're all both going to get some. We'll get breakfast. I'll get lunch.
Oh my goodness! So yeah, I'm
But-
so hungry. Um, so we've got Food 52. So again, like just a completely different take on like food. We've got a kind of curated collection of stuff just in for the happiest hour, and just zooming out all the way so you can see this the very big image grid. Nothing unusual from what we've seen so far. So yeah, first impressions, Hillel.
well, they're really strong on brand, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's super on
Totally.
brand. Like all their fonts and like it's clean. Um, it's nice. I mean, it's visually appealing.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot going on in the header, right? Like you
Yeah,
have
that's
Food
what I was gonna
52,
say. Yeah.
right? You have a header nav of new shop recipes and sale. Then there's a bar for the table, which I'm not
Mm-hmm.
sure is that their like loyalty program.
Yeah, exactly. So this looks like header, and then this looks like loyalty program kind of call out thing, and then and only then do you get to sort of like what the hero image is. I do agree. There's a lot happening here. I don't know whether it requires that much. Um, but yeah, I mean, we'll scroll down and we'll I'm sure come to our own conclusions. But for me,
Right.
it's quite a lot happening up here, and I don't know what this looks like on mobile as well. I imagine it looks quite busy, or maybe they might have taken some elements out.
It's a
Certainly for
great
me,
question.
yeah, I think certainly for me, like for mobile, if you have the ability to like if you're on the right ESP, I would just take some of those elements out for the mobile experience.
Yeah, I wonder also if like the table, like if you are a member, like
Mm-hmm.
I
Oh
mean,
yes.
if
Yeah.
instead of it, like this is the backup,
Mm-hmm.
like if you
Mm.
don't have rewards, like otherwise it would say the table and like you currently have X number of points or something.
That's so
Um,
interesting. Yeah, yeah,
right, and then
yeah.
right, but I think maybe a better experience would be like if you're not in that program, just don't like it's. Then why would I want to see that right there? You know what I mean?
No,
If I'm not really a user, it's probably just better to hide it. That's all.
yeah, I think so as well because also like if I'm new and there's nothing here that like I haven't been kind of persuaded in just yet to create an account and unlock rewards, that might be something that kind of falls towards the end if I'm like, oh, I've been so wowed by this email. There's obviously all of these benefits to being a member. I don't think it quite belongs up top if you're like a brand new person. But like you say, maybe just don't show it at all if it's somebody that isn't a member just yet and hasn't accumulated any rewards. So anyway, just in for the happy hour, shop new arrival. So we've got a CTA like bang right up top.
Okay.
Lovely
Is
imagery.
Yeah, well, that's their whole thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like 90% of what they do is take beautiful pictures of food.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
they do a good job at that.
Yeah. Yeah. Really great stuff. It is kind of a shame how it looks sort of cut off because what we saw with the Surreal email, I felt like their product took much more of a like you know, like, well, it was quite literally on a stage, it looked like, whereas this looks like it's kind of been put behind this color block. It's not really the star of the show, which is, you know, like, I think this maybe I mean, I think what I'm saying is I think the text and the CTA could have been integrated a bit more into the image rather than having the
uh,
image be stuck behind.
well, it's hard. Like I think with Surreal, like they're just really showing you like a cereal bowl of
Mm-hmm.
food,
Oh yeah, that's true.
full
That's true.
one full cereal bowl,
Yeah.
right? And they can play
Yeah.
with like where that cereal bowl like fits, and then put it on any background they want. Like
Mm-hmm.
here, this is like a real photograph of food,
Mm-hmm.
like
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
and like just creating white space from this is not nearly as easy as it was for Surreal.
Mm-hmm.
But I agree
Mm-hmm.
with you that like it doesn't look nice. Like I wonder if they could have used. I like using like transparency to a degree. You know what I mean? Even like if it's still not so clear, but you can still see like that there's a tree keep going up and the wine bottle doesn't get cut off. Like, and you see
Yeah.
the rest of the picture. It's not like totally gone.
Yeah, yeah, you know, it's all about the vibes, right? Like this is a cocktail party, you know, or like, you know, just like like a casual do in someone's back garden, and you kind of want to show that. So yeah, just some thoughts, but it's still beautiful. I mean, the colors are nice and um cohesive as well, which is really great. Then we've got these grids, cocktail picks, so curated collection of cocktail glasses, so no prices, but like, yeah, I don't think you need prices unless it's a unless you're going hard on a promotion where you're saying like everything's like 50% off and you're showing like maybe like the difference before and after. But in a curated collection like this, I think it's just vibes. What do you think?
Yeah, no, it's definitely vibes, and it's definitely like they want you, like you want to have that. The person saying that they want you to envision like throwing this cocktail party, and then like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, I need those tumblers, I need those little, cocktail glasses, I need these champagne things, like,
Yeah.
and then like, oh yeah, I'll make that purchase. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
there's no like, sale. I don't know if they ever do sale.
No,
I don't know
yeah,
what
I'd
their
be
strategy
interested
is.
to go through some of their past things. But yeah, this is like a curated, almost like editorial kind of feel, which is nice. Um, and then we can go into this sort of call out
Yeah,
section,
I
like
thought that
a
was
little bit throughout
pretty.
the.
I mean, the way that
Mm-hmm.
that, like, I guess it's like eucalyptus or something.
Mm.
That branch like stuck up above the
Mm-hmm.
glasses. So when you were like looking at the bottom of that, you saw that branch kind of like drawing you down.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know if that was intentional or just like the photo they had,
Mm-hmm.
but it works like that.
I think if it had just been the glasses, potentially you could just scroll right through it, because the problem with taking product photography, and I've been in this situation before of like glassware, it's transparent and it's very hard to make it look pretty. And so yeah, having like little elements like this that sort of stick and almost like interrupt, but like in your mind, what do you think the objective of this email is?
um, I think they probably send a lot of email,
Mm-hmm. Mm. Yeah.
and it's I don't know if it's like a clear objective, but I think they just want to be present,
Yeah.
like every day,
Yeah. Yeah.
like.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I bet they're sending a lot of like,
Yeah.
email,
Email.
because they need to
Yeah.
they need to be there. Yeah, they just need to be there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
show like they have beautiful glasses and their partners and their affiliate links and all this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Like
So
I was
very
hoping to
different.
see more
Yeah.
recipes. Honestly, like that's what I would want to
Yeah.
see.
Oh well, maybe that's for a follow up. Oops, all recipes. But yeah, I think you're exactly right. I think this might be part of their like business as usual cadence. You know, they might have a curated thing all about the glass, or they might have a curated thing all about, I don't know, like crockery or whatever. And this is just not. Obviously, it is great if people convert off the back of this, but I believe this is one of those kind of in between emails that is just showcasing to people, look, this is also what we have, just in case you
Right.
weren't aware. Yeah, curate a collection of cocktail, and it's also timely. It's summer. People are having,
Right. This
get-togethers
time of
in the
year. I
gardens.
mean, I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
there was nothing Sunday, right? Did I miss something that was like a happy hour on Sunday? Like it was just
Well, I didn't
that
get
would
the
be a
memo.
time to right. I didn't get.
I wasn't invited. But yeah, it makes sense for this time of year, right? And I can completely imagine, because I was in this position as well of like the person creating the emails, kind of like plotting out the calendar and being like, okay, this is something, obviously we can put out, and the next week we put out, and you can. This also seems like something you can switch around fairly easily as well, in the content calendar. So again, stunning serveware. Yeah, pretty
Right.
images.
Yeah, and they want you to, they're trying to. I guess they're, trying to turn you into the hostess, and
Yeah,
that you'll
yeah.
want that, beautiful paddle to put cheeses on or something, and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh,
that
imagine
big
how
cake
grown up and
dome.
put together you look if you have these. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Let's make
uh,
that. What do they call that? Charcuterie, whatever it's called.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
sugar. Yeah, and then we've got the zero effort summer corn recipe. Oh, recipe.
There we
The zero
go.
effort summer
Finally.
corn recipe our community loves. We love a zero effort recipe. Certainly I do. Uh, and
And
uh,
boy, that's a beautiful picture of corn.
it's interesting because like they're not selling anything here, but the smart thing about recipes is an opportunity to have content that is tangential to what you are offering as a brand, right? And then it's a good opportunity to be like, oh, also you can use like these bits and pieces that we happen to be selling as
Right.
well.
Like this is a great pan to use to make this.
And then another grid just for you. Okay, so I imagine if it's just for you, I'm guessing that this might be dynamic. um
Oh,
Maybe.
maybe.
Yeah, I imagine they
Is
have
this
the
what you've been
data to do
buying?
that.
Is this?
Yeah.
This is in
Well,
your
this is
inbox, right?
no, this isn't in my inbox. So, no, but yeah, I mean, it's a good opportunity to have dynamic things at the bottom, um, and because this is on Mild, I imagine this is their backup.
Right,
Because
exactly. This is
yeah,
we
Mild
know
is under
nothing
the
about
board.
you one,
Yeah,
or these are
so
bestsellers, so it's just for you.
yeah, exactly, and it still manages to look all like put together as well. It's not like completely
R-
random product
Right. Also,
imagery.
there's a lot of uniformity, and all their product images are all
Mm-hmm.
uniform.
Yeah,
So that's
really
really
nice.
nice, really clean. Right. Like every product is exactly the same size. Like
Yeah, it makes all the difference. I think like the randomness we saw from the McDonald's thing was that you had the McMuffin, which was like a different size product image, to like the McCrispy, which was also on a black background. And what happens that it makes your email look really disjointed. So yeah, it's really nice that they have all this togetherness, and we've got probably the
um,
largest footer I've ever seen. What do you think about this footer?
well, they're all about content, right? So
Mm-hmm.
they want you on all their socials. So that makes a lot of sense. But it's surprised like the big menu on the bottom, because they also had a big menu on the top.
Big menu
So
on top, big menu on bottom. Yeah.
I feel like it's a little bit overkill. The big menu on the bottom,
Yeah, it's interesting. I think
I feel
I
like it
mean
doesn't hurt them, but
yeah,
it's just you don't need it.
it's huge.
Sale,
It's
you
huge.
don't have sale on top, so sale. I mean, people always look for sale. So
Mhm. Mhm.
yeah, good idea to stick a sale link in there. But other than that, I think it's
Yeah.
all right.
It's all right. Yeah. I think the one touch maybe I would have put in is maybe put sail in a different color to the rest of them, but I don't know. That's
Oh,
just me.
like a red cell.
Yeah. Yeah, or even, like
I
a
feel like that's off brand.
color.
You know what I mean? Like they're all
Yeah, that's
subtle.
true. Yeah, they're all very subtle. That's true. I'm not subtle at all, clearly. But yeah, so we've got view in browser, unsubscribe, and preferences. So yeah, overall, yeah, I mean, this is, this is a good business as usual email. It's good if you can convert people, but it also serves the purpose of being part of a larger strategy to kind of keep showing people all of the different facets of your brand, especially if you sell a wide range of products, right?
Right, right, for
Mm-hmm.
sure. And yeah, like I said, like they send a ton of email, I'm sure. The list is probably huge. And actually,
Mm-hmm.
they did have the sale on top also. So yeah, I really don't know why they needed the second menu on the bottom. But
Mm-hmm.
overall, I think it serves them, and this is the strategy. Like they're not. And honestly, I think it speaks to Serial's trying to do something really hard.
Mm-hmm.
So they're doing a great job with their emails. Food
Yeah.
52 is pretty well established already, and they
Yeah.
could just send emails that are kind of boring, but good and good enough is what they're shooting for, and on
Yeah.
brand,
Yeah.
and just consistently sending out stuff like that, and it makes money for them, and people click those links and buy coasters and whatever else they're selling.
Yeah,
So it's working.
exactly. I mean, like you say, like in the last time that you're on it, it isn't rocket science. It's pretty easy. If you have a big list, just keep sending emails, and what do you know? People will be yeah, converting.
I'm sure
Yeah.
McDonald signed off on that email like 100 times. I mean, you can
Oh,
tell
sure.
from all the dots and disclaimers.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, is there room to improve on that? Yeah, there's a lot of room to improve on it.
Hmm.
But yeah, they have to want to do that.
I think maybe a theme that I saw throughout these emails, what definitely elevates email designers, like less is more. I think with Surreal, we definitely saw like the best version of that, where very clear CTA, very clear objective to the email. But then again, with business as usual emails, they're still important because you still have to send them out every week. And you don't necessarily have like a product launch or a promo every week, right? So you've got to
Right,
have these sort of curated collections and stuff.
right, and just good job McDonald's also. Even just the
Hmm.
the timeliness, the execution wasn't great, but the timeliness of it was great. Like there's this
Absolutely.
final going on. They sent this email with a subject line with the little football.
Yeah, I mean, I have to wonder whether they have like pre-design templates like that just ahead of time so that they can move fairly quickly, and they
Oh,
know
that
that
could
all of
be.
the legalese maybe worked out ahead of. I don't know, but it's certainly like an idea for people watching to maybe have some templates or designs like on standby just for occasions. Like, so for example, the one that I'm kind of thinking of is like if there's a heat wave in the UK, and by heat wave is probably like, I don't know, room temperature. um
30.
and you always see different brands coming out with like, oh, beat the heat, all of that stuff. And I imagine if you're organized, you would have a email design kind of set somewhere.
Beat the heat.
Yeah.
Like, here's some 8 smoothies you can make right now.
Yeah, exactly, that kind of thing. Have you worked in that way before? Like, have you kind of recommended that sort of way of working, just having stuff set?
I've had like ideas where like I I work with a furniture brand, so just like having like an outdoor furniture email ready, like as soon as there's like a nice weekend in like April.
Mm. Yes. Yeah.
Like, yeah, let's send that. We
Yeah.
know that Sunday is going to be a gorgeous Sunday, the first gorgeous Sunday. Let's send that email. Like,
Yeah, let's make
have
the
that
most of
ready.
the sun. Yeah, absolutely. Especially like in a place like here in the UK where it seems to be raining like 90% of the time. When there is sun, everyone is like, we've got to do everything. So that impulse is like so clear. Yes. Well, that brings us to the end of our three three course meal, I guess, or our end of our three meals. Um, that was so much fun as always. Hello. Did you have any
Yeah.
sort of like takeaways for anybody watching, anybody who might be working with a food brand?
Um. Yeah. I mean, like, I think sign up to Surreal and copy.
Yes. Yeah, they're doing a lot of things right, for
They're
sure.
doing
Yeah.
100%. They're doing a lot of great things. I mean, I mentioned that like I stole something from them, but they had a great email about they have like an auto ship program or a subscription. Surreal is a great opportunity to subscribe. Like the subscription email or promotion, and I've never bought from them, but it's part of their welcome cadence, I guess. And it was just really cute. It was like, how to get a discount on every order. That was the subject, something like that. And it's like, you can scour the internet every time for a coupon that might work, or you can just sign up, and save 20% every time. In general, I think that's just great, advice. Like, sign up to the best in the industry, and try to find things you can, mimic.
Absolutely. I think the interesting thing about a site like Milled is that it takes all of the emails, or at least most of the emails from the brands that are on there, so you can see not just the best of the best that is curated like on the site, like really good emails. You can see like what they're sending out every week, and so I think it is important to see. So for example, like the business as usual email we saw from Food 52, what are they doing when they've kind of got some downtime, and what are they doing when they have like a big promotion or a launch?
Right, I'd be curious to see that.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, well, so sad we are at the end. Thank you so much for joining me, Hillel. Thank you to our friends watching at home to make it all the way to the end. I think we're all sufficiently hungry, so let's go grab something to eat. Thanks, Hillel.
Thank you,
and bye.
Bye, guys.